Alright, what's up everybody? Mad Max here. Evening, day 3 of putting the Integra Type R back to stock. So let's take a look and see what I've accomplished today. Didn't really get much time to film because I was working by myself. So let's take a quick look. Alright, so I got the front bumper off hopefully for the last time. I got all the little plastic pieces that needed to go in the front bumper back in there. The air box is mounted, finally. The coolant overflow tank, I relocated back to its factory position. We have the factory radiator, factory air box. Everything's attached. I did all the cooling lines back there that ran through the throttle body that were disconnected. I got the accumulator dryer right there. I have the AC compressor on. I have a little piece of electrical tape stuck in there just to clog it up, because just in case something gets in there. And I put the silencer back in. So that, they call it a resonator. As you can see, it kind of goes up into the fender there. And it silences the air. But this thing is just about ready to be put back on the road. I already put oil in it. I'm going to put coolant in it in a little bit. I just want to rinse out the overflow tank and see if I can get anything else out of it. All the condenser lines are on, so excited about that. And I'm going to slap the front bumper on, put some coolant in it. And then the last thing that I need to do before starting it up is, as you can see, I got some weird tape on here. This is holding up a bag that's filled with evaporust, so I was hoping it would loosen up some of the rust on the bottom of the exhaust manifold, just to clean up the threads. I really don't care about the exhaust manifold because it's A, covered, and B, it's not really rusty to begin with. But wanted to run a tap through there. I also put on my brand new valve cover and acorn nuts. Again, thanks to AFHK Parts. Yeah, so thanks to AFHK Parts, this thing is looking pretty cool. I wiped down some of the soot. Now, I noticed that a lot of people were commenting, oh, this doesn't look like a 36,000 mile engine bay. Well, the reason being is because, as you can see, the turbo kit over here, which I have sitting outside right now, I'll put it back in when I'm done. See this right here? Hold on a second. Bring this into the light. So, you see, this is the wastegate for the turbo. It was mounted right on top. It was mounted kind of with this side facing the driver's side. Well, some lovely individual who shall not be named did not ever put a dump tube on the wastegate. So what it was doing was every time the wastegate opened, it would just dump soot into the engine bay. Hence why it looks terrible under the hood. But once you clean everything off, I mean, you can see I just did a quick wipe down on the shock tower and on the hood. And this is still with stuff like on there. It's all clean underneath. Everything's good. So I'm not really, like, it's really a 30,000 mile car. It definitely sat out in the elements for a short period of time, and it was in high humidity because you can see there's a little bit of surface rust on the strut towers there. And also, oh, hit my butt on the bumper. You can see that there is surface rust on there. However, underneath is clean, clean, clean. I mean, you can see, hopefully, everything there. Everything's clean under the car. And just so you guys see that it's a legit... I mean, we already established that this is the original paint. This is the arch on the driver's side. The passenger side is the same, except the paint's a little messed up. You can see that the original rubber is still there, which always promotes rot, and there is none. None. You can even see in there's a little bit of surface rust just from rocks kicking up and knocking off the paint. But this thing's solid. It's very solid. So, I'm not worried about it. It's a solid car. It's a legit 36,000 mile car. Just going to finish up here right now. I'm going to pop on the camera while I put the front bumper back on. Got to do the belts. Got to put some coolant in it. And put the exhaust manifold and cat on, which is going to require me heating up the bolts under there with a torch to get the cat delete pipe off. There's no O2 sensor provision on the cat delete, oddly enough. I guess the tune deleted the secondary O2. So have to still unbolt that, and then once I do that, I can actually bolt this whole secondary manifold, or the bottom part of the manifold, and the rest of this exhaust in, which I'm, again, excited about. Then I can fire this thing up and I can actually drive it down the block stock. Still cooling on the front bumper, so we'll leave it off for a second here. Alright, so basically got a gallon down, probably another gallon or so to go. Alright, let's start putting this front bumper on. I now feel slightly accomplished that I put some kind of cooling fluid in this thing. And, I don't know, maybe I'll even get to drive it tonight. Alright. Hopefully this is the last time I have to do this until the car has to get painted, if I paint it. Alright, so for the AC belt, you have to take off the torque mount right here, which is two 14mm bolts, which you can't really see because you have to lie on the ground to see them. Add the jack there, not really to hold the engine, just to protect my little head in case that thing drops down, which I don't think it will, because that is really just a mount to kind of hold the engine in place. I just wanted to make sure. These torque mounts are known for failing, but right now just got to do these last couple belts, and then I think I'm good to go. Got to do the belts, got to do the exhaust, put some more coolant in it, and she's running and driving. So I'm excited. So let's get this thing banged out. Alright, time to take the torque mount out. Sorry, Santa's driving around. Ugh. There we go. Alrighty. Now the engine seems to be sitting in place here. So you can see these bolts have definitely been in there a long time, but they're clean. So I had to take the mount completely out, which is going to be kind of a pain, I think. Yep, of course it's going to be a pain. Let's see what you guys are seeing. Now we got a fucking view here. Alright, so that's now passed. That's passed. And there you go. We got an AC belt, which goes there, there, and there's a pulley up top I gotta hook onto. So I'm gonna hook that on and just make sure that's good, and then I'll put the torque mount back in. Belt number 3 is power steering. I got the AC on. Which means Honda is just stupid with the amount of belts. Like, just use one, maybe two. I understand the separate AC belt, but damn, 3 belts? Like, come on. Actually, technically 4, because you got a timing belt. I thought for a second there I screwed up big time and stripped out something. It helps if you put the bolt in the right hole. Wrong hole, she exclaimed. Well, not for long. Now all that's left is to torch out. Basically, I have to sit here and heat up 3 bolts on the exhaust to get them off, and then I can bolt in the factory header and cat and plug in the secondary O2, sink everything down nice, and get the show on the road. So next up, got to put the stock exhaust back in. Just putting in the last piece of the header and the cat. I'm going to screw with the rest of the exhaust at a later date. I want to just get this thing full exhausted and running. I know the bolts are going to be difficult, so I have a torch here. I have my 14mm wrenches, and I have a fire extinguisher, because the last thing you want to be running around looking for when you need it is a fire extinguisher. So just bringing it underneath with me. God forbid I set something on fire, I can put it right out. Safety first. Always check to see if the thing is full, which it is, because this is a brand new fire extinguisher. I'm going to take the wall mount off and throw that to the side, because this is a, as I said, brand new fire extinguisher. I'll mount it at a later date. Right now, I just want to crawl under here with the fire extinguisher and crack these bolts off, hopefully. If they come off, in the clear, I just slide this, this piece in and fire it up. I'm really excited. This is almost done here, mechanically at least. The look of complete shock on my face. I really hope it picks it up. This exhaust came out with no heat. I PB blasted it a couple days ago. That was it. I can't believe it. I'm that far away from being done. I want to cry in relief. So just got to put a gasket up on this thing, put the header on, and I'm done mechanically. Right, just putting the wheels on, and I'm going to wash my hands, change so I don't get any dirt in the car, and I'm going to fire it up. So let's see what happens. Yes, I know the tires are bald. I already have a new set of tires. They're going on when I get the wheels refinished, which is going to be shortly. But for now, it'll be okay. All right, so cars are all done. Why didn't anybody tell me that I looked like Alice Cooper here? Come on. So I'm going to fire it up right now for the first time. I am grabbing the keys right here. And let's fire it up and see what happens. I'm a little nervous, but hopefully we time the thing right. So let's see. All right, moment of truth. Ugh. Let's clutch in. Car's in neutral. Ho 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 ho! We have an NA, slightly smoky car. Let me just put this camera down and put some coolant in it. The final thing for me to do before I go on the first drive is to pull that stupid Apexi VTEC air fuel controller. I keep seeing VFAC, but it's really VAFC. I don't know why. But I discovered something really fun. So the previous owner pulled the airbag out of the car. Yeah, airbag out of the car. I just put it back in, and he mounted the ECU where the airbag went instead of mounting it in the kick panel like where it was originally. So right now I have the ECU out, and I'm going to pull some wires off and resolder them and make them nice, and then put the ECU back where it belongs. So let's take a look and see where it is. Alright, so here's the ECU with the various wiring in there. Got most of the stuff out, and it looks like it's going to be fairly straightforward to put back in. The first thing I want to really install, though, is the airbag. So the ECU is actually mounted under where the airbag belonged. Why somebody would do this, I have no idea, but they did. So we're going to correct that right now, and we're going to put the ECU back in the kick panel where it belongs. So you can see down there, it belongs in that kick panel, and somebody took it out like an idiot. So let's get to soldering and get this thing back to one piece and back to stock wiring so I can go drive it and have a little bit of fun, even though I'm on bald tires. Alright, so ECU wiring is done, fixed. Let's see if it actually starts. There's a belt squeak, I gotta tighten that up, but it runs. Woo. I gotta tighten up that belt. That's really annoying. The car is done and running. on a stock ECU. Everything's taped up. I just kind of have the ECU kind of just shoved in the passenger footwell just so I can kind of go for a first drive and figure it out here. And I do want to put some gas in it, so we're gonna go do that right now. Shift knob's unbolted, center console's unbolted. There's no, half the dash is out, but I don't care because I just want to drive it. I don't care. I'm so excited. I moved it around the block down my block and back real quick, but I haven't driven on the road. And this isn't really going to be a fair assessment until I put some decent tires on it, because the front tires are bald. Yeah, you can hear some belts squeak. There we go. I hate the clutch. The clutch is, he said, like some kind of aftermarket. Whoop. Jesus. Clutch is a little crazy here. I didn't dump that clutch, I swear. Clutch is very grabby. It might have some corrosion on it or something. I don't think it's really going to be a fair assessment, but the car drives, so that was really what I was hoping for. The climate control smells terrible, probably because mice urinated down it, which, again, it is what it is. Horn works. The power door locks do not work, which, again, I'll figure out. Shouldn't be that terrible. The clutch is definitely grabby, though. Holy cow. I might have to do a clutch on this, because this clutch is, like, bad. The gearing is so short. It's insane. I can't believe how short the gearing is. I'm doing 35 miles an hour. I'm in 4th gear at 2,500 RPMs. Now, this engine really excels with revving out. So, I'm going to put a fresh tank of 94, and I really wanted to burn out this old gas, because God knows how long it's been in there. And then I'll rip it a little bit. The clutch is just very weird. It's taking some getting used to. If you don't shift fast, it's very grabby, and it seems like the flywheel is very lightweight, and it drops the revs very quickly. So I'm already at the gas station. That's my first drive. I'm gonna go take it for lunch real quick, and then head home. All right, first fill up in God knows how long. Gonna go back out on the road in a few. As far as the powertrain alone is so much fun. It doesn't have low end torque. It just wants to rev. It's just begging for a rev out. I mean, it's sounding pretty decent. I love it. I love it. It just keeps revving. It keeps going. Like, it's amazing to think about that this engine was designed 20 plus years ago. I mean, that's an amazing feat if you think about it. This engine just revs and revs and revs some more. It's so good. You know, I mean, I can knock Honda because some of the people just suck in terms of driving, but there's no denying that the engineering that went into this car is just something else. I haven't gotten any looks yet. I don't think any people have really noticed what this car is. I'm sure it's a cop magnet. I haven't driven past any police yet. Let's see if it'll crack VTEC. Yes! It cracked VTEC. right around 6,000. Holy cow, this thing sounds unbelievable. Oh my God, I love it. I can't wait to put some proper tires on it. I think I gotta change this clutch though. It sucks. It really is ruining this car for me. But, I mean, this is definitely, hopefully the clutch breaks in a little bit. See, when you, like, get off of it too quickly, it, like, literally is violent. This clutch is just not good for the car. I just turned down the wrong street. The clutch is not good. But that's not the fault of the car. That's the fault of the previous owner. This thing boogies. Come on. It doesn't like to be low in the rev range. It really wants to go. Oh, Jesus. This clutch. People are like looking at me like, what is wrong with you? I'm coming off of it smoothly. It just does not want to be smooth. It's a very on-off clutch. The previous owner told me he had put some kind of upgraded clutch in here, and it's extremely on-off. I don't like it. I gotta maybe get used to it, or maybe it just needs to be broken in. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.